All right, welcome back to the bench. We're working on our low center of gravity crawler. And we put the links on last time. And I just did a little discussion about the shocks. If you want to look at the last video where I put the links on, I talked about the shocks that I got. I think what we're going to do now is mount the axles to the links. Now we got some mounts that came with this link set to mount the links on the axle, centered on the axle. Now, that's just going to give us more adjustability of where we want the axles. Now, if you want to look at my first video when I talked about the parts that I'm going to use, I took these axles apart, showed the internals, greased them, and all that good stuff. Okay, we have our steering links and our drag link is already on here, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, these are portal axles, and I think we'll start with the rear axle. And now we have to decide, they have these mounts to bring the links closer to the center of the axle, but I'm not exactly sure how these work, and I don't even know if I need them with these axles. I'm sure if you bought the axles that they showed on the vehicle, you may need to mount them, but I'm looking at this and I'm not seeing exactly how this works. But it comes in 4 parts, and I do believe this fits together like this. These 2 parts here go together like this. Then this is where you mount your links, and it gives you some adjustability. It raises the links up on the, I'm going to say, the rear raises the rear upper links higher on the above the axle. Now, this is made out of carbon fiber, and it would go, there's 4 screws holding the differential in, and this would go over the top of that and fit in where those screws are, and it allows you to raise your links to the center, put your links to the center of the axle instead of mounting them here. And again, that's give you more triangulation. So I think I'm going to use it. I'm trying to figure out how it's supposed to stay in there. Give me these two little brackets. I guess, okay. So this brackets will go in here, in this area, right here. And then the bolt goes through here through to your differential. And I think they gave you longer bolts for that. Yeah, they did. Okay, so you can take the bolts out and put the longer bolts in. All right, so we take out the two bolts on the top of the axle to hold the differential in place. And that's kind of short. So they gave you longer ones to put this link holder into those holes. First, we have to put these little brackets and I gave you two short screws for that. Place the bracket. Why is that threaded? Are they both threaded? Okay then. Okay, so the bracket is screwed through here, on here, through the back of this bracket here. And then, once you have the two brackets on, you place this piece in between the brackets and locks around the, then there's a screw that they didn't give us a nut to. Oh yes they did. I'm sorry. That goes through the two brackets and the upper link mount holder dealy thingamajiggy. Okay. And I'll give you a small nut to put on that. And it's almost captive once you get it on there. All right. So this has two metal brackets that go on each side of this upper tower part here. They're screwed in from the back of the lower part of the mount. And then there's a bolt that goes through the two brackets and the upper part of this mount. And then there's a nut that goes on the end of that. All the hardware is provided. Then this goes on top of the axle. And I can see what they're trying to do here. They're trying to get this axle centered so they give you extra longer screws to put this on with. But this mounts on your axle. And this is all carbon fiber also. It's a tight fit, which is okay. And again, I gave you longer screws to fit this Capra axle. That's what they're calling it. Y'all know it's coming from overseas, so they can call it whatever they want. All right, so the upper links are now mounted here instead of here. And that, again, is going to give you more of an angle for your links to come into here to center this. So maybe when I did the links last time, they had them on the outside of the frame chassis, and that's going to bring them even more of an angle toward the center of the axle and help center the axle. I put them on the inside, and we're going to go with that for now. So yeah, let's see what happens when we drive it. We may move them out to get the crossover of the links in a better space. And again, this is all adjustable. Could have put those links on the lower on the axle. And you can, in the end, if you need to change the adjustment. Different size. But what the heck? Oh, I dropped the nut. All right. So that's where the uppers go. The lowers go to, of course I put it backwards, upside down. It doesn't go on the front of the vehicle, of course. We're working on the back. So this is, let's do it twice, Doug move. How come you guys didn't tell me that it goes on the back? But this is the rear axle. Alrighty then. Now, if we have it in the right place, then the lowers go I'm going to assume, I hate to assume anything with this build, but again, they're adjustable. You could put them on the top of the axle, which would be kind of stupid because then you're going to get this axle movement this way. So they go on the lower part, I would say to the inner part, and then the shocks go there too. Now we have our shocks, we're going to have to put those on too. I explained in the last video, but I'll explain in this video. I bought these shocks. They're internal springs and oil filled. Okay, now they're called Crawlborn. If you want to get full droop here, you take the inner spring out. Then when you put weight on it, put them upside down if you want to. Put weight on them, then they will droop. That's what droop is. They're completely compressed. Okay, you put oil in them. You can change the oil if you want more compression, less compression, full compression, half compression, whatever you want to set your droop at. Very adjustable. And a lot of people put them upside down. I mean, you can put them this way too and get your droop this way. Okay. And then you take the spring out or put a different spring inside. Change the oil because they're oil filled and the spring's internal. I'm just going to leave them as they are right now. We'll see how it looks once we get the stand, once we put it in. So the shocks, do I want the shocks on the inside or do I want the shocks on the outside? That's adjustable too. A lot of adjustability in this setup. crazy. They got pictures of everything under the sun except where the heck shocks are. Mounted in the back. Okay, they have the shocks on the outside and the links on the inside. So we're going to put it that way for now. So the shocks are in the outer bracket and the links are on the inner bracket, and they didn't give me screws long enough to go through all of that. And that's kind of weird. Everything else has been provided. The screws they gave me were, so mounting those, so you are going to have to get some longer bolts. Jeez Louise. Okay, I happen to have two. They are .30 millimeters. Why they didn't give us 30 millimeter? What, you gonna tell me I only got one? I know I got more than one. I seen it. There it is. 30 millimeters. And that'll hold the shock and the mounts. And I mean the links. Sometimes I have a hard time with this mount and all this stuff. My brain don't want to put everything where it's supposed to be. And I do believe that this is threaded. Or I'm cutting threads, one or the other. It's tight, that's for sure. I am going to put a nut on it because I do not want it to fall off. But it seems that it is threaded. Now remember, these are nylon, and I'm assuming, probably more than I need to, that it threaded itself through that last hole. Okay, so let's get this other one on. So you probably don't need 30 millimeters. You could get away with 25. I'll put a 25 in here, we'll see. Since that's threaded, or will be threaded once you get them in, then you won't have anything sticking out. Yeah, this threads in here. So you can put a 25 millimeter bolt in here and it will thread the nylon or composite material and lock it right in. So I'm going to remove this 30 from this side and clean it up a little bit. But then again, if it started to come loose, I guess it would be nice to have those extra threads hanging out there. But we're going to put in 25 millimeters. And the shocks I bought are I forget how long they are. I think they're the 100 millimeter. Yeah, from end to end they're 100. If you go from center of the bracket to the center of the bracket, they're 90, 91, 92. 90s probably. So they're 100 full, 90 from inside each bushing. So between 100 and 90. So I guess maybe they gave me 25 millimeter ones. No. Unless I picked up. That's kind of crazy. Alrighty then. I'm just going to use up my last 25 millimeter. And my last 30. I'm going to order some more. Got to keep that hardware stocked if you're going to build vehicles, because you just don't know what you're going to need. I had to buy some, what were they, 60 millimeter ones for the last project. Sixty-five millimeter bolts. Okay, so now we can mount these shocks. And they give you spacers to keep these. You have several holes for the shocks. I'm going to, since I don't know what size shocks they put on these, I'm just going to put it in the middle. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 6. So I'm going to put it toward the middle. And yeah, we're going to need the spacers. And they gave us spacers for the shocks. I'll put it toward the middle, and then we'll see where we have to adjust it from there. So far this kit is, well, that's crazy, Doug. Contains everything you need. Where the heck did I put the other? There it is. Except for those 2 bolts. And yeah, not bad so far, if you want to call it a kit. Alrighty, let's lock up this other one. And yeah, that's not a bolt I need. So not a bad design. Okay, so again, we don't have any droop at all. But if you want droop, you can take the springs out and get all the droop you want. Change the oil. Take all, put some or weaker springs. Got to remember, this vehicle don't weigh much. And in the future, over time, we will adjust this and put more weight down low if we need it. You know, brass wheels, brass. Oh, I like that. That's not bad. That feels pretty good. Alrighty then. I hope these axles that come with this fit. That's a long ways to go. That's the back, rear. We'll put the front on. If I'd only put a longer screw in here, I wouldn't have so much time on my hands. Okie dokie. Let's get this other one in. You know what? Oh, I haven't got the transmission in yet. I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I should have put the drive shafts on, but we'll put the drive shafts on when we get the motor and transmission mounted. Okay, that screw was long enough. And again, we got lots of adjustability up front for the shocks. I'm going to try to get this somewhat level. Might have wanted to get some shorter shocks for the front. Just an opinion right now. Okay. Again, I'm using black hardware. The hardware does, these shocks do come with hardware, but it's chrome, silver, whatever you want to call it. Well, Doug, one of these has got to be longer than the other. I put them in the back. Alrighty. We have the links, the shocks, and the axles installed on our I may have to move the back shocks back or the front shocks put some droop in the front shocks or get shorter shocks. Probably $5 millimeters shorter. I don't know. We'll see how we feel about it. They look at a picture of their stance on the one that this guy built. Yeah, I got the shocks mounted in the same place as I do. I don't know. It feels pretty good, all in all. Alrighty, guys. There is our shocks. And we don't have any side to side with this setup. Like I said, you could have put move these anywhere you want them. Got lots of adjustability on this. But right now, we're just kind of going by what the picture says. These are pretty much parallel with the ground. Okay. And with these wheels, we're going to be wide and close to the ground. Okay. All right, guys. That'll be it for today. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.